get into our behaviors, our personal behaviors towards money, that's where we start today. Let me begin by saying this. When it comes to money, we are all in the same religion. Money doesn't care. It equalizes all of us. The fact is, we all use money. The usage may differ, but we all use money. Number two, we all have money. The amount may vary. Elon Musk has more money than me. The amount may vary, but we all have money. No matter how much or how little you have, we all have money. Number three, we all look for money. That's a fact we can't deny. We all look for money. How we look for money may vary. That is a fact. Money equalizes all of us. And I want us to look at 4 behaviors today and see these behaviors, whether they affect us and what we can do about them. So the first behavior I want to mention about money, the very first behavior, we don't talk about money. So a lot of people don't talk about money, and it becomes a very thorny issue in families. And because we don't talk about money, most of us, we hope that things will get better. We keep hoping that our financial situation will improve. I'll give you some 3 tips on our money behavior. Number 1, 3 simple tips. Tip number 1, money talks. It's true. Money talks. I mean, if somebody joins a golf club or any other high-end club, immediately you know they have money. Money speaks on their behalf. They don't need to speak. The moment you don't have money, you have to explain yourself a lot. Money talks. That's a fact. Number 2, hope is not a strategy. Believe it or not. I'm saying this because I know many people who go for prayers day in, day out, Monday through Monday, Sunday through Sunday, name it, Friday through Friday. It is important to have hope, and we must never lose hope. But hope is not a winning strategy. Number 3, we need to study money. The more you learn, the more you earn. I'm not talking about degrees. I'm talking about financial literacy. Learning about money. You can't keep money until you understand money. Money behavior number 2, we buy to impress others. How many can agree with me here? There are so many things we buy, not necessarily because we need them, but because we are trying to make an impression. We are trying to impress others. Buy the car you can afford. Buy the watch you can afford. Buy the phone you can afford. Because it's very possible to copy somebody else. You can get a loan and buy that car. But the fact is, that is the car that will make you bankrupt. We are ever in debt. We are ever in debt. And I'm not talking about business debts. I'm talking about personal debts. And I speak with a lot of confidence in public, because when you have no debt, it gives you a certain level of confidence. Trust me, it's such a place of confidence. Look at the screen right now and tell me whether this makes sense. If you look at not just the people who are employed, I'm using the word salary to imply both. Those who have income from business, those who are self-employed, and those who are employed. Let's start with the employees in the house. If I look at the money I earn, this is the reality. This is what I earn. But this is what my friends think. And this is what my relatives think. My relatives think I'm a millionaire. My friends think I'm doing so good. But the reality is, this is what I am. They really don't know your struggles. They don't know how many loans you're servicing. So I have some suggestions to make. Number 1, it's not your salary that makes you rich, it's your spending habits. And that's the first chapter here in this book. It is your spending habits that will make a difference. I've seen people with less money who end up buying land, putting up a nice house, and I've seen people who earn a lot. Eventually, they are broke for the rest of their lives. Tip number 2, nobody will ever help you pay your debts. Let me ask you, those of us who are in debts, who ever sent you money to clear your debts, or to clear one of your debts, or to minimize one of your debts? Of course, nobody. Nobody. And that's the reason I'm saying, why should you get in debt because of your relatives? Why should you get in debt because of a friend? They force you to borrow on their behalf. Tip number 3, start paying your debt from the smallest amount. If you want to get out of this hole, list down your debts. Maybe I owe so-and-so 1,000, so-and-so 10,000, so-and-so 50,000. Start with the 1,000. Check it out of your list. Start paying from the smallest debt. It works. It works. Because once you start clearing, it motivates you. Number 3, money behavior number 3. Most of us don't save. So what happens when we don't save at all? We are always fundraising for emergencies. Is this familiar? When you got sick, you are calling friends to help you. When you had a funeral, you are asking people to fundraise, because of course, death is never timely. Give some 3 tips. Number 1, don't spend before you earn. What is spending before you earn? Spending before you earn is when you swipe your credit card. That's not money you have. You're consuming what you have not earned. Tip number 2, money is a current. We all say that. Money flows. Money is a current. It's liquid. That's why when a business is being wound up, we say it's been liquidated. Money is liquid. So it is not how much you make, but it's how much you keep. That's what we are saying. So the suggestion from this book and my personal suggestion, have two accounts. One, a savings account and an emergency account. So here is the deal. The account you use on a day-to-day basis should be your current account. But you should have a separate savings account and an emergency account. These two accounts are different. The savings account is different from the emergency account. So you can save with an insurance company, you can save with a fixed deposit, even with a bank, but that's not your emergency. An emergency account is the money you use if a child is sick or you or there is death in the family. It's unpredictable stuff. Money behavior number 4, most of us spend without a plan. Now, when Morgan Housel was writing his first chapter, he was trying to say we don't go to Excel spreadsheets to plan. Morgan Housel says we spend money without a plan. We spend money out of emotions. How many here know? In Africa, a lot of elderly people, 80 years and above, they are broke, they are depending on their children, and some of them are cursing their children and their grandchildren because they are not being supported. They are dependents. They have no income, no savings, nothing. They depend either on their children or grandchildren. Can I surprise you? Here in the West, a lot of old people, most of them do not need any help. The only help they need is physical. So a lot of people where I live, like in Atlanta, elderly people, 80s, 90s, they actually hire nurses. They hire nurses to take care of them, to cook for them. So those who don't have money are taken to retirement homes. Those who had good savings, they stay in their own houses. A nurse, a professional nurse, not a relative, is hired to take care of them. But they had done some savings. They had thought, Catherine is with me in Atlanta. They had actually kept money. They were not rich. Don't mistake me. It's just a question of planning, nothing else. It's just a question of planning. 1 out of the $10 will be for the time I will not be able to work. Why? It's a fact. One day, if Jesus tarries, you will not be able to work. Financial freedom is not how much money you have. People think financial independence is having a lot of money. No. What I'm saying today, and I've told you before, is exactly what Morgan Housel says. Financial independence is not a question of not being able to work. I want to draw a line between the gambler and the spender, and the difference between the saver and the investor. So, the gambler is the guy who believes in betting. They go for betting, they do sport betting, they go for lottery. If you are in cryptocurrency, if you are in sport betting or any type of betting, if you believe in lottery, if you have been investing money in pyramid schemes, you are a gambler. That's the first category. The spender is not a gambler. The spender is the person who sees a nice watch, goes for it. A nice phone, goes for it. Nice food, goes for it. The spender does not withhold anything they see. Whatever they can afford. I mean, they are impromptu buyers. That's the spender. Then we have the saver. There's a difference between the saver and the investor. What's the difference? The saver keeps 1 million. 2 years later, it's still 1 million because they kept it in a savings account, sometimes in a fixed deposit account. So whatever they saved is the same money they find. The investor, they save 1 million. It may be 2 million. It may be 500,000. Why? Because they took their money in unit trust. They took their money maybe in a company. They invest in shares, stocks, in bonds. They would invest in somebody's business or in a company, or as I said, in insurance units. Some tips that I get out of this: your old age depends on what you do today. If you don't save today, you will start giving threats to your children when you're old. Have a long-time view of life. Youth doesn't stay put. Aging is compulsory. Invest in a company, not in shares. Investing in shares means you go to the stock market, you observe the stock that has been going up, and you buy those shares. You look at the trend the last 2 weeks, the last 2 months. Which stock is going up? You buy that share. That is buying shares. Buying a company is saying KCB is stable. I'm buying the KCB share. Safaricom is a stable company. I'm buying the Safaricom share. That's when you're buying a company. You're looking at the company because in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you know 100% the shares of that company will go up. The total number of shares in a company is actually what we call stocks. The share is the smallest unit an individual can invest. Now, I'm going to mention 4 behaviors about entrepreneurship quickly. 4 behaviors about entrepreneurship. Success in business is public knowledge. There is no secret. There is no secret about success in business. We all know it. The difference is not what we know, it's what we do. And that's the emphasis of this book. Not the knowledge, but what we do, our behavior. Again, I say none of these behaviors is new. So the question I'll be challenging you It's whether you are a victim. Behavior number one, we give up too soon. It's not that we don't know that we need to be consistent. The problem is there's a gap between what we know and what we do. So let me repeat, one of the things I have taught over the years is that if you're going to cut a tree and if it's going to come down, you have to keep hitting the same tree over and over and over again, same spot, same tree. Because the biggest problem, especially in Africa, people hit one tree, it's so hard. They go to the next tree, it's so hard. Another tree, my hands have blisters, they're bleeding. In 3 years, they have tried 3 or 4 businesses. You're trying to cut every tree in the forest. You're tired, you're exhausted, and no tree is falling. If that tree has to come down, you've got to hit the same tree over and over again. And I dare say today, it's not intensity, it is consistency. It's not how hard you hit the tree. It is not how many hours you work in the business. It is consistency, not intensity. The next thing you have to realize, consistency earns trust. When you're consistent, you earn trust. When you jump from one tree to another, one business to another, the market doesn't trust you. They start doubting you. The moment people ask you, are you still doing printing? You've lost your credibility. But the moment people know this guy is a web designer, it may take long, but eventually you'll be the master in the market because referrals keep growing and it builds up to a very huge customer base. Second behavior about entrepreneurship, we try shortcuts. Now, I think the older you get, the more you realize something, that there are no shortcuts in real life. They don't exist. That word shortcut is only in the dictionary. Number 2, if you take shortcuts, you get cut short. People go to pyramid schemes, they're trying a shortcut. But do you agree with me? The problem was not just the person who conned us, but the problem was also us. We were trying to take a shortcut, but we were cut short. Because every time you're losing money, the problem is not just the guy who is conning you, but you because you are trying for a shortcut, and then you are cut short. Real life has no shortcuts. Trust the process. The third behavior about entrepreneurship, we fear business loans. We fear business loans, many of us here, because of our own pain, because of personal debts. We also fear business facilities. Or maybe we have burned figures in the past. A business has failed in the past. So we fear if I start another business and I go for a large amount, will I make it? Will I have a breakthrough? Do you know why you fear business loans? Number 1, because there's a business that failed. That's one reason you fear business loans. Number 2, because of your personal debts. That's the reason you fear business loans. And maybe you had taken a business loans and you're almost auctioned. Your house, your car, your everything. Look at my 4th point and my last point today, our 4th behavior with business. We walk alone. Let me tell you, the number 1 reason why so many businesses in Africa close. We start a business all by ourselves. All by ourselves. Show me a major business you know, whether it's Tesla or Microsoft, whether it's Facebook, name it. Show me one big business, whether it's Warren Buffett's Berkshire, that is owned by an individual. Do you know all those big businesses are owned by over 1,000 people? All those big businesses. Tell me the owner of KCB if you know him. There's no such a person. He doesn't exist. KCB is owned by many, many people. Just think about it. I would rather take 1% of a million than 100% of 100. Rather than keeping 100% of the shares, I would rather have 1% of a billion rather than 100% of a company whose worth is just 100. So there's an African proverb that says, if you want to walk fast, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, walk with others. If you want to walk alone very fast, walk alone, because when you walk with others, they'll drag you, they'll delay you, some will sit down, some will sip some water, some will need to be stretched. But you know what? If you keep that team spirit, you're going to walk far. If you want to walk fast, start a business very fast, very quickly, start all alone. But if you want a business that will be there 30 years from now, don't do it alone. So the fact is, you're not going to move very fast when you're many. No. No, you can't walk fast when you're many. It will test your patience, your teamwork, your ability to get along with others, your personality will be tested, your emotional intelligence will be tested, your level of tolerance will be tested, your leadership skills will be tested. You will feel sick being in a group. They will push you to the limit. You'll get angry and you can't shout at anyone if you have to keep the company intact. It teaches you human skills, PR skills, money saving skills, investment schemes. This is a very big problem with men. Women, most of them are able to network, but men like going it solo. I challenge you gentlemen in the house. If you work together and form a company, you have a higher chance of sustaining that business.